Today's update on what's going on in Mid Norfolk and what's going on in the office here as your local MP. Each day a new routine established, as I'm sure everyone has had to establish new routines. Aaron and Elliot and Tom all working from home. We go through the inbox every morning and then have a conference call to get on top of the most urgent stuff that's come in, and then spend the day trying to get on top of all of the most urgent and getting responses back to constituents. Look, of course, this crisis has changed everything, and the way I work as your MP, no less so. I'm concentrating, as I said I would, on the three key things in my bulletin when it first broke. Firstly, making sure that as far as possible everybody in Mid Norfolk gets the help that they need. Secondly, supporting the leaders of the Norfolk Resilience Forum and the Gold and Silver Command, the community work that's going on, to try and make sure that those public sector leaders have got everything that they need. And thirdly, making sure that ministers and civil servants in London are aware of the reality on the ground in the Mid Norfolk constituency. I want to highlight two or three particular issues of concern. Firstly, the PPE for our frontline health and care workers. There's been a huge effort, military effort, to get the PPE into the country and distributed. That distribution has taken a bit too long, and some of the bits of the Norfolk healthcare system haven't yet had everything that they need. The hospitals say that they have got enough for now. Most GPs, but not all. Some, Orchard Surgery in Dereham, one or two others, are running very low, and I'm working with various companies and others in the county to try and make sure they've got what they need while the government supplies come through. And thirdly, out in the wider public sector, particularly the care homes, but also those on the front line of dealing with people who may well be carriers of the virus, so people who work, whether it's in police or ambulance or fire, or people in other public services who are coming into contact with the public. Second issue, local businesses. It's quite clear this economic shutdown has absolutely hammered so many businesses with very little resource to cope with it. The big businesses have got enough to get through it, but the smaller ones are really struggling. And the government's announced 330 billion of COVID relief, which is great. But there have been a lot of problems with that money getting actually down through the system, so it comes out into the bank accounts of small businesses. And I've been working with the Local Enterprise Partnership, with the district councils, who are the front agency, and local businesses, 600 or so in my patch, to make sure that the issues they raise are dealt with. We've got about 15,000 businesses online to get direct help, but the banks aren't really set up for delivering money quickly into the accounts of companies, and the system has taken a while to respond, and we've got to make sure it speeds up so that those people who are self-employed, who run their own business, who've been hit, are helped to avoid bankruptcy and redundancy. And thirdly, there's a whole raft of issues that civil servants in London might not expect or be aware of, issues to do with things like footpaths across land, where farmers rightly are saying that popular paths ought to be closed. We've got issues with pharmacy and medicine supplies in our local pharmacies. Some are actually fine, others have got long queues. We've got some problems with people who are at risk, who haven't yet received their letter confirming that they're on the at-risk register and will therefore get all the government support. And then we've got some people who are on the list but haven't yet had it. That's unusual. Most people who are on the list are very quickly getting the help, and it is coming, an incredible effort by our local district councils to make sure that that volunteer effort is coordinated. And we've got some issues to do with people in the workplace with unclear guidance, things like the construction industry locally, not sure if they should be working or not, and people who are self-employed, not sure whether they should be, whether they count as key workers. And some issues about PPE guidance, health and safety executive guidance running at odds with Public Health England. So a whole bunch of things that have got to be sorted out, which, to be honest, I spend the day on the telephone just trying to get through to the right person and get problems solved. We are, I think, in the end of phase one, and we're about to go into the hardest phase of all in Norfolk, where more and more people start to come into our hospitals. We've seen an incredible effort by Norfolk County Council and NHS in Norfolk to clear the hospitals. About 60% of people who were in hospital have been able to be moved out into the community. So the hospitals have never been more able to take patients when needed. But unfortunately, it looks as though we are going to have a lot of patients needing that care in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So it's going to be very, very difficult. And I just want to say a very big thank you to all those incredible people on the front line of our health and care system and all our public services. The Queen put it better than any of us could last night. You are doing the work of a nation, and the nation is grateful to you for it. Any questions on the support that you may or may not be getting, or any issues that you need me to be raising, please email george.freeman.mp@parliament.uk, and I and the team will get onto it as quickly as we can. Bear with us, we're getting hundreds of emails every day, and we have to triage them, of course, but we are trying to deal with everything as quickly as we can. Thank you for all that you're doing, and remember, please, in this nice weather, stay in, stay home, help to protect lives of other people, but also, increasingly, we're discovering no one is immune from this, not from the Prime Minister, not down to children. All of us are at risk. Please stay in, stay home, and let's make sure we can help get on top of this virus.